Probably the most important thing here for me is the kind of performance metrics that you use in your organisation. The balanced scorecard, the concept of a balanced scorecard or an integrated scorecard is vitally important. So you need to have a number of measures, a relatively small number of measures, so that people can understand them and get their head around them. But not so small that you're focusing only on one or two things. And you need to get the whole of an organisation lined up around those 4 or 5 areas, those 4 or 5 sets of measures, and overall giving a kind of equal performance across the whole range. So there's got to be a focus on client satisfaction, but not to the exclusion. There's got to be a focus on people, the people experience, what it's like to work within the organisation, but not so that you forget that it's customers that pay the bills. There's got to be a focus on financial performance, but not so that you get driven just by numbers. There's got to be a recognition that risk is important, quality is important, but not so that you're producing things that are fantastic quality, but the economics of it don't make sense. If you get all those measures right, and the team, the people in the organisation understand the importance of all of those things, then you've got a high-performing team and you've got a high-performance culture. The biggest mistakes that I see organisations making are, one, focusing on too few metrics, focusing just on one area to the exclusion of other things. So it might be we want to be a real customer-focused organisation, so we focus just on the customer and we forget about the fact that we've got people working here and how does that feel, and we neglect the measures around that, which causes a decline in motivation in the people experience. And a consequence of that, of course, is customers don't feel great because they're dealing with people who aren't very, very happy. So that's one mistake. I see mistakes around trying to do things by form but not by substance. So let's have a mission statement around this new high-performance culture. So you make some public announcement, but actually there isn't any substance behind it, and employees can be very cynical about that sort of thing, and that then comes through, and that shows in the way that the outside sees an organisation. Another area is training and development. Some companies spend huge amounts on training and development without really understanding what they're doing, whether they're getting benefit, whether they're training the right things, whether they understand the return on the investment. So a proper training and development programme has to be integrated into the business. There has to be a strong connection between what the business is all about and what people are learning, and how they see their futures developing. So you can spend money on training and it can be wasted money, and that creates disappointment, and then you get the negative cycles coming in. People say we shouldn't do that because it's not worth it. But if you think carefully and intelligently about what you're spending your training and development budget on, and really integrate it into the way that business is done, that's when you get onto the virtuous circle. So this is quite interesting because high-performance teams, high-performing cultures is not a particularly new concept. It's been around for a few years now. And there's a lot of real hard evidence to support the kind of things that we've talked about: the focus on metrics, the focus on developments, the focus on team and community rather than individuals. There's a lot of good quality research to support those kind of concepts. So in a funny kind of way, one of the attractions of this is it's got some endurability, there's some sustainability here. We're talking about relatively simple concepts that are easy to understand, which have been around for a while. So this is not a fad, this is not the latest kind of management fad, this is something more substantial than that. I'm very keen on the concept of evidence-based management, of not doing things just because That's the latest fashion in the sort of management marketplace. But there's some real hard academic research that supports and underpins the concepts that you're using and that then you seek to apply in practice.